Rudy Giuliani is so close to going to jail for contempt of court that his own lawyers have fired him and didn't even tell him about it. He had to learn about it when they read the newspaper, and there was the filing that his lawyer, Ken Caruso, made in front of Judge Liman to be discharged as Rudy Giuliani's lawyer because Rudy wants him to do unethical things. He doesn't want to do it, and Rudy's out of control, and he's making the matters worse, and Ken Caruso wants to get out of Dodge really, really quickly. I'm on Legal AF, the new YouTube channel. You're here already. Hit the subscribe button. Now more than ever, we need your help to continue to build this channel. And I'm at the intersection. I'm Michael Popok. What are we talking about? $150 million judgment. That's what we're talking about. That Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, the mother-daughter team out of Fulton County, Georgia, they were those election workers that were horribly doxxed, disparaged, and defamed, had to leave their house, violent rhetoric, MAGA attacking them, and they got a $150 million judgment against Rudy Giuliani over a year and a half ago in D.C., and they've been trying to collect on it ever since. Now, the lawyers for Rudy Giuliani, Ken Caruso, who used to work for Rudy Giuliani back in the day in the U.S. Attorney's Office, it's not because he's not getting paid, although I don't think he's getting paid. It's because of what happened last Thursday in court that I reported on. This was a court hearing that the judge ordered Rudy Giuliani to appear in front of him at because of a potential contempt, because Rudy Giuliani had failed to turn over all of his assets from his apartment, from his house, his paintings, his sports memorabilia, his Yankee World Series rings, his grandfather's watch, his Mercedes-Benz, whatever, everything. Everything must go to Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss. And he failed to do it. When they finally got into his apartment, everything was gone. Everything was taken down. So the judge wanted to have a hearing. On the way into the hearing, against the better judgment of his lawyers, who he's not listening to, he held a press conference in which he attacked the judge and the system and the jury and the plaintiffs and everybody else. Of course, when he got into court, he made it worse. Every time his lawyer, Ken Caruso, tried to talk, Rudy Giuliani would talk over him and contradict him in court so badly that the Judge Liman, said, your position and what you're saying right now, these words coming out of your mouth, Rudy Giuliani, they're farcical. They're ridiculous. Stop talking. I'm going to find you in contempt. Well, I don't think it's gotten any better since that hearing. Rudy has until, I believe, tomorrow or on Friday to turn it all over, leaving him homeless and penniless, as he has said recently on podcasts. Okay, Ken Caruso filed his motion, apparently without telling Rudy Giuliani that he was firing his own client. And he said there's 3 grounds for why I got to get out of this case. The client insists on doing things and acting out in a way that's inconsistent with his lawyer's advice. I mean, I'm sure the press conference and the way he acted in court didn't help. He said the client wants the lawyers. So Rudy wants his own lawyers to pursue a defense that has no legal merit. I mean, we are officers of the court. We can't pursue things that are meritless. And 3, the client is failing to comply with any of the directions or advice that Ken Caruso is giving him. So I got to get out of here. This just indicates to me that Ken Caruso knows that Rudy Giuliani's going to jail for contempt, that Rudy has no intention of turning over the assets. He's got a very good law firm against him. It's Wilkie Farr and Gallagher, know the firm well in New York, and they're using all of their resources, and they're representing this. Let's get this. They're representing Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss for free. This is all pro bono. All the money's going to go, whatever's collected, to these 2 poor women. And I applaud Wilkie Farr and Gallagher for doing that. And they know what they're doing about enforcing creditors' rights in the state of New York and how to chase assets. So the fact that Rudy's taken them and putting them somewhere at some Long Island City storage unit or something else under some sort of lock and key with some MAGA entity that he's turned it all over to, and then acted like, well, it's out of my control. It's not my care, custody, and control. I've given it to somebody else. You just violated the court order. The court ordered you to restrain your assets. Don't deplete them. Don't waste them. Preserve them for the enforcement of the judgment. Anything you do there is fraudulent conveyance. You're in contempt of the federal judge. What could he do about it? Put you in jail. I believe the next time that Rudy Giuliani goes to court without a lawyer, apparently, I mean, as early as Friday or Monday, the judge is going to, he better bring a toothbrush. I think he's going to end up in the federal detention center in Manhattan. It's not a great place, by the way. I've had clients end up there that I've had to represent. They're all in jumpsuits, orange jumpsuits, and there's a terrible vending machine. And that's their life in the federal detention center with little tiny windows. That's where Rudy's going to be until he complies and turns everything over. And now he's going to argue, oh, I don't have a lawyer. You can't hold a lawyer. You won't listen to a lawyer. You want them to do really bad and unethical things, and they won't do it. I mean, in the motion that was filed, again, without Rudy's knowledge, we know that because a spokesperson for Rudy Giuliani told CNBC that you would think that they would tell the mayor that they were going to fire him. Well, they didn't. And there's big blackout on the public filing that the judge put on the docket. We presume it's the really bad stuff that Rudy wanted his lawyers to do and that they won't do. They asked the judge to hold it in camera, meaning seal it, so that the public wouldn't see it. They didn't want to further embarrass or compromise the Rudy and the public, but the judge saw it. The judge knows the underhanded, unethical things, potential crimes and contempt of court that Rudy wants his lawyers to do, like continue to hide his assets, continue to argue that he doesn't have to turn things over. They're not going to do that. Even though Ken Caruso worked for Rudy back in the day when he was the big bad U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, he's got, the two lawyers that represent him, they have bar licenses. They'd like to keep them. Thank you. Rudy doesn't care about his bar license because he's lost both of them. So I hopefully the next time you come back here on Legal AF for my update, I'm going to report that Rudy Giuliani has been placed in the tank by Judge Liman, and he can't get out unless he has turned over everything. I mean, they should now get the lint in his pockets, the lifesaver, the fuzzy lifesaver in his jacket, or whatever he's got has to go over. And the weirdest thing is that Judge Liman is also the judge who's going to decide whether Rudy Giuliani is going to be homeless or not. He's got one piece of property left that still hasn't been adjudicated, and that is a condo near Mar-a-Lago, where else, in Palm Beach County, Florida, worth several $1 million that Rudy says is his home. But depending upon when he moved in and when he declared it to be his home, it may or not be something that he'll be able to keep. Florida has some debtor protection laws. If you live in a house, this is why deadbeat debtors with large judgments run to Florida, because if they buy a house in time, they can put all their money in the house and avoid their creditors. But that's only if he did it right. And the way that Rudy Giuliani with his big, giant, empty head is operating lately, at least the last 10 years, he's not thinking clearly. I don't think he got the date right on when he had to declare his residency in Florida for homestead protection. And who's the judge that's going to decide? Judge Liman, the guy that's now just been told by other lawyers that Rudy Giuliani can't be trusted and he's unethical. So you know where this is going. I'll continue to follow it here. Take a moment, hit the subscribe button, join our community, link arms with us. We're at the intersection of law and politics, and I'm Michael Popok. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.